In this video, I'm going to show you the correct way to make jazz and soul samples that sound like this. So when listening to an old 70s sample, you can notice how organic the sounds are. So let's take a listen to this instrumental. So what is important from a sample like this? First being the correct instruments, second being the chord progressions and harmonies, third the layering of each sound and how they complement each other, four being the placement of each instrument in the mix, and five being that expressive feel that it creates. So let's start with the correct instrument. If you play something like the keys, guitar, flute, then it really gives you a stepping stone, but there also are tons of VSTs that actually sound pretty close to real. Piano Book being a website that has many free sounds. And speaking of free sounds, if you haven't downloaded my free one-shot kit, then go to my website. You get 150 free one-shots and I'll link it down below. Moving on to the chords of these roads and the most important part, let's look at the simplified version of these chords. They're just plain minor and major chords with no expression to them. They sound dull and not jazzy at all, but there is ways to solve this. First, we want to add some inversions. Then we can add those extra strum notes to give it extra flavor. Then you can add a chord that is out the natural scale to resolve it. This just builds tension and that perfect feel. And notice how this chord has them two half steps, again creating that nice expression. With these type of samples, they used to record multiple similar instruments to create that perfect harmony. So let's take a listen to this trumpet playing on its own. Then if we add multiple different trumpets playing in different octaves, it sounds more full like this. Even in today's music, there is a lot of call and response, which makes samples just much more fluid. Notice how we have those trumpets going up and this saxophone going down. They contrast together and they sound beautiful. To really allow each sound to have their purpose in a sample, it's important when panning and using reverb. If we pan them in different directions like I did here, then route them into a reverb bus. You can use reverb to really place them in the environment, so they can either be at the front, middle, or back. You can see on the left the trumpets are similar in the middle, then the saxophones are large and in the distance. With these type of samples that I mentioned earlier, it's all about that expressive feel. This makes it more authentic and captures that groove. So let's look at the bass and you can see I've played this in by hand. But you can also see I did this with chimes and guitars. Then I added phrases and drums from Splice to give it that organic feel. But the strings, I've layered them using the steps before, but this you can see I'm using automation with the mod wheel. And listen to how they gradually evolve into the sample. Or you can even add an organ to give it a little bit more fullness. Once you have that soul bass down, you can have bells as counter melodies to create that little bit more feel. Then you can see I've added vocals, and this is how the whole sample ends up.